I don't know how you come in and sit in this chair every week.
Is that my chair?
No, well,
Did you steal my chair?
No. First I move the mic, then it's the chair. But no, this is like our third person chair because I got my desk chair downstairs. So
old man back chair.
I don't know. I'm kind of particular about it a little bit.
I noticed. Why'd you bring a chair down? Is it like your back? What is it?
I knew we were going to be sitting there a while and I wanted to be comfortable. And I'm like, those Hall of Fame chairs, like they're comfy, but over time, we
need to get you a recliner the rest of the week. Or?
I thought about bringing in actually like I've got like a movie theater style chair. I thought about bringing that in, but I thought if I was reclined back in that, I wouldn't appear busy enough. Welcome back into another episode of Where the Game Lives On, the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. We just got back from Lake of the Ozarks, Old Kinderhook Stan Musial Golf Championship.
Hall of Fame Championship presented by Landau Pontoons.
Yes. Landau Pontoons, absolutely.
The elite event on the calendar on the Hall of Fame that we have, 30 events a year, and that's the top of the line. It's the big one. So I think it's the only overnight event we have, where people actually spend the night. So, but it's a ton of fun.
I think it is.
Yeah. We have, 18-ish, teams, that come into Old Kinderhook and on Sunday, and they can bring +1 spouses, whatever. And just a great gift pack, nice meal. And of course, we have all of our celebs that we pair up with each team, and they kind of entertain those teams the rest of the evening on Sunday. And then of course play golf with them on Monday. So yeah, a lot of fun, other than the fact that it was about 117 degrees Monday, but otherwise it was a great event.
Yeah, I had a really cool conversation, and I'll be diligent about what I include in this. Really cool conversation with a former football coach here in the state, who's a very well-known name, about the college football playoff committee.
Yes.
And what that will be entailing.
I had a similar conversation.
Presence on that. It was very cool. I was like, man, we need to see if we can get this. I don't know if that's been announced. I don't know if that committee's been announced, so I don't want to go too deep into that, but it was really, really cool to hear his perspectives on kind of just how it's going to be different and how the seating's going to go. And you've got the automatic bids from the conference champions and everything. We love college football. If you like college football, we talk college football on this podcast all the time, and it's going to look way different. And we are now finally in that season where we're going to have college football every weekend for the rest of the year. Going to have several chances. We're going to be up in Columbia here later in the fall. Might be able to see Mizzou play. I'm actually going up there to watch OU.
I'm confirming here that it is public.
It is public.
Coach Gary Pinkel.
Yeah, we had some cool conversations with Gary Pinkel about the college football playoff committee, and kind of just kind of picked his brain a little bit. It was
cool. I actually had the opportunity on Sunday evening at dinner to sit next to Coach Pinkel, and he, in a great way, talked my leg off. I mean, it was awesome. Getting
very knowledgeable guy.
College football Hall of Famer, Missouri sports legend, and getting a chance to, talk, college football playoff with him, and college football in general. Just with the whole NIL and the way the game's changed. And of course, he's been out for a little while, but he was very excited about the playoff and how great it's going to be for the game, and kind of this is his first year being on it, and so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You mentioned NIL in there somewhere. I don't know if we've talked about it on this podcast. Did you see the Oklahoma State Cowboys QR code on the back of the helmet?
Oh, wow.
No, you haven't seen that?
No.
Yeah, so they have every player individually has a QR code sticker, decal, whatever you want to call it, on the back of their helmet that when scanned, be it from somebody in the stadium, seeing it on TV, takes them to their NIL profile, cool. Which essentially I'm guessing is either something set up by the university or it's a link tree of some kind. But the NIL coordinator at Oklahoma State, as a matter of fact, Barry Hinson is Missouri a recent inductee of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. So people have been joking, though, that like with this Wild West mentality of NIL and stuff like this coming about, you're going to be creative. Able to, somebody makes a big catch, and then you get to scan their
$20,
scan their QR code and leave them a tip.
You just won $1,000 bet. Hey, there's 50 for you. Thank you for catching that ball.
You are now going to get commissions on people's sports betting payouts whenever you hit a prop bet. This is all jokingly, but I don't know. I really don't know. I know that there's very little regulation on it, and it's going to be interesting to see how other universities try to apply it, follow suit. It'll definitely be a very interesting thing, but I'm just ready for ready for football in general.
Yeah, I hope when does college football start?
Oh yeah, we don't need to talk about week 0 in Ireland.
Talk about week 0 in Ireland. It was not good.
You of course watched the tape delayed games. You probably had trouble keeping the notifications off on the phone before getting to it, but
I did stay away from the phone throughout the day on Saturday and watched it Saturday evening, and yeah, it was not. It was awful. I mean, just literally. If you're a Florida State fan, it was not. I mean, they did not play well in any phase of the game except their kicker. Their kicker had 2 50-plus field goals, but
anyway. Did you see? I don't remember. I think it was Jesse Palmer and somebody else who was on the broadcast team. Yeah. They had like Guinness or something. They were drinking beers up in the booth.
Tessitore, is that his name? Joe Tessitore. He actually handed one to the camera guy. So it was.
Oh, really? That's so funny. That's so funny.
No, it was. But taking it full circle back to what we started talking about, I mean, the beauty of this season is Florida State lost week 1. Their season's not over. I mean, they can still, win a bunch of games. They can still pick up another loss later this year and still have a chance to make the playoffs. So that's kind of the beauty of college football in this new first year of the 12 team is you're not, you're not out of you had to be the top 4 in the past. It's not like that anymore.
Especially with a loss early. Yeah. You're going to have plenty of time. You run the table. I mean, it's going to be hard to put a team 10, 11 straight wins with one loss on the docket. And who knows, we might get to November and Georgia Tech they could be right up there at the top of the ACC. I mean,
they'll tell you what, I was impressed when they played sound football. But I mean, and Florida State is not going to be 13-0 good like they were last year. But I don't think they're as bad as they showed on Saturday either. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But big game Thursday night or tomorrow night, actually, with Mizzou hosting Murray State to get their season started. I won't say big game, but at least the start of what could be a big season, though, in Columbia. So
yeah. You said Mizzou?
Mizzou hosts Murray State tomorrow night. Labor Day weekend, of course, coming up. A lot of teams will play tomorrow night on Thursday to start their seasons. That became a thing. I guess it's been around for a while. I was trying to think when I was in college, I don't think we played maybe we did play on Thursday of Labor Day weekend. I don't remember.
All the conference realignment. Here's a trivia question. What conference is Murray State in right now?
Currently?
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact that they were in the OVC because they were in the OVC when I was at Austin Peay, but neither of them are in that conference any longer. Murray State's in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Is that right? So they're an FCS. Well, you're right.
Are they?
Missouri Valley. I thought they might have been in Conference USA.
Are they in it for football though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All they sure are. They sure are.
I knew in basketball. I think they were in the conference last year for basketball. I know because I think Missouri State went there, perhaps. But
yeah, Missouri State football. Corey Riggs.
Yeah.
Shout out to Corey Riggs.
Our buddy Corey Riggs he's going to be the voice of the Bears. Obviously, the voice of the Bears will always be Art Haynes, but of course, Art is retiring at the end of this season coming up.
Yeah.
Well, technically, I guess he's scheduled to do the first game of the fall of 25 season. I guess SMU is his alma mater. Is scheduled to come to Springfield, so he's going to call that one and hang him up. But Corey Riggs announced as the new voice of the Bears. He's going to be doing the away games this year for Art, and then going to take over full time. So that's. Very happy for Corey. Great guy, great talent, home run hire for Missouri State.
Done a lot with the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, been honored, been recognized with an award by us. He will be doing, come 2025, he will be doing football, basketball, and baseball, I believe.
That's right.
Another guy worth mentioning, a former
guest on the
podcast and inductee, Clay Harbor, who is probably the best receiver to ever come through Missouri State.
I think we talked about that. He's
statistically or otherwise.
He's in the team photo if he's not. So.
Yeah. So he'll be doing some stuff there too on the
broadcast.
He's
doing color commentary for some away games, I believe. So.
Which whenever we had him on, he had actually kind of started delving into that a little bit. So that'll be kind of cool. Just exciting stuff. We talk about all the changes across the landscape of college sports, college athletics. Missouri State, right there with all of those changes. New conference, a lot of new head coaches going to be going to the FBS now, which is going to be quite a change for them. And it'll be interesting to see how that correlates with potential upgrades to their stadium and other facilities and what the, revenue splits from Conference USA will look like. Of course, Conference USA looks entirely different now than what the Conference USA of old used to look like, but exciting times for Missouri State, exciting times for really just everybody across college football. It's crazy in football and beyond, how sports are going to be changing from, competition that they're playing, the level they're playing at, the amount of travel that's going to be, I don't know. I wonder if we'll see that this year. If a team on the West Coast has to make, multiple trips, multiple weeks, how do they handle that?
And it's not just the revenue sports, the basketball, the football. It's not that they're used to it already, but I mean, I think of the quote unquote secondary sports, the non-revenue sports. They're making a Tuesday night trip. I'm thinking California is now in the ACC, and they're heading to Chapel Hill to play, North Carolina in a women's soccer match or game, and on a Tuesday, and they get done, they got to go back. It's just stuff like
it's
that.
It's going to be really interesting.
The time zone changes and travel, and it's a season of change, but it's here to stay. So
I hope that it's well accepted by the players themselves. Mm-hmm. There's obviously going to be a lot more opportunities in terms of their branding and the level of competition that they're going to get to play. But you think about the travel aspect, the mental toll that it may be able to, have on them. You hope that's not the case, but it'll be interesting to see how it changes things.
The commercial, 90 whatever % of these college athletes are going to go pro in something other than their sport.
Yeah.
I mean, that means that the books are as important as the goals. And so, you got to get back, go to class, get the good grade, whatever. And so I don't know. I don't envy the, getting in at 3 a.m. and having to be up for that 8 a.m. class. So,
yeah.
And then practice after that. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be interesting for sure. What do you say we drop down a level? We had high school football jamborees
it's coming up.
Friday night, week
jamborees are in the past. Now we start with some matchups this weekend. We're looking forward to high school football. It's fall when the high school football starts up.
I love it. In my prior field, I was doing some news reporting. Can't say I miss it a whole lot, but whenever that Friday football comes around, it was always kind of fun. You got to keep up with, teams in the area more, and I still kind of do. And with the advancements of technology and all of these schools having broadcasts anymore, it's really, really fun to, sure, you want to go to a game, you want to be a part of the high school football atmosphere, but you can sit on your couch and just like on a Saturday or a Sunday, you can watch games all over the place, which is just so much fun to do. And a lot of the schools.
And the cool part of it is a lot of these high schools, and that's maybe what you're talking about, they got students doing the play-by-play and the color, which, that would have been awesome when I was in high school to do that. That'd be incredible, but what a great thing for those kids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But did you have a chance to watch any jamborees?
No. We were just trying to get some stuff done around the house over there because I knew I was going to be gone on Sunday and Monday, so didn't really get out and watch anything. I don't even know. I know that all I know is that Nixa and Ozark and Kickapoo were in the same jamboree. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was based off of Twitter.
I watched some highlights from that one and some other jamborees. I'm one of those guys. Whenever it's early, I want to see teams play, and especially in high school, because year over year, you just don't know what a team's going to look like until they really start kind of getting into their season. But even some conference realignments in the high school realms. You've got teams like Camdenton who are going north towards Jeff City, teams like Lebanon who are now coming to more of the Springfield metro area. The Central Ozark Conference is going to be a powerhouse. You now have a much more even Ozark Mountain.
Kickapoo, Glendale went to the COC.
Yeah, Lebanon went to the COC.
I mean, Lebanon's state ranked. They're loaded. So that conference is ridiculous with Webb City and Carthage and Nick's in there. I mean, that's probably maybe the best conference in the state. But
yeah, and we're just talking about the Southwest corridor here. I think it's going to be beneficial for the teams down here to play high level competition week in and week out. Come time to play those Kansas City and St. Louis powerhouses that are always there throughout the year. The new conference is the Ozark Mountain, which is more of a class 4, class 4, class 5-ish conference. I think it'll be interesting because it's first year.
And the thing is the Ozark Conference, which has been around, it was like the standard down here that you had that 10-team Ozark Conference, is no more.
It's essentially the Pac-12 now. The Pac-2 is the Ozark Conference.
Which is crazy. It's just a lot of changes, but I think that it's good for, and I'm thinking in terms of the Ozark Mountain Conference, those schools, the Bolivers, the West Plains, Hillcrest, that they're kind of stepping down into that class 4 level. They were up there with the big boys, the class 5, Kickapoo, Glendale, and those type of schools, Lebanon.
Yeah.
And so to kind of step down into their own, kind of play their own size is going to be good. I know that I know the folks in Bolivar are excited about it where I live, about the new rivalries that can form with, you got Rogersville back, that, old COC small rivals that are back in the same conference and stuff. So you get some of that stuff. I mean, my daughter is playing, she made the volleyball team, 7th grade team. So we got the schedule to see where these games are at. And I'm okay, well, we get West Plains at home. Yay.
There you go.
We're on our way to Carthage, So it's certainly not proximity in that sense, but you still got some long road trips. But size wise, it's an excellent conference.
I think, and we've talked about it before whenever this conference was previously announced, I think across all sports especially, there will be a lot of balance in that new conference. I think especially year one here, relating it to football, I think it's a pretty wide open race. Now with what you were saying too, I would look to the Bolivars and the West Plains and like a Branson. Those schools who have been playing some Class 5s and some Class 6 schools for a while, I think they're going to be able to have find their footing quicker in this new conference. They probably have the best shot. But even that being said, I think all of these schools being very similar in attendance and their populace, the towns that they're in, there's going to be a lot of evenly matched teams in that conference year in, year out. And that's not necessarily the same across the other sports. For instance, like Rogersville baseball, right? They're going to be pretty solid in that conference.
And it's some stuff travels. For example, Rogersville basketball, with John Schaefer coaching. They got some studs. The Branham kid, I think they went to the Final Four last year. I mean, they're going to eat in the new conference just like they ate in the last one. So it's some of the sport. Bolivar cross country program, or tennis program. I mean, for whatever reason, Bolivar's a tennis powerhouse now, at least public school, and so. Those type of things it doesn't matter what size they were competing against the bigger schools, but I do think having, kind of matched up, just like the new COC, it's mostly 5 and 6. I can't with that conference is flat out loaded on the gridiron at least. Yeah.
I think, even in terms of the realignment too, as you're looking at these conferences a little bit, I think it's not quite done either. I think there could still be some movement, not trying to dog on anybody, but in terms of the level of competition, you still have some schools like Neosho, Willard, who are going to be in a powerhouse of a conference, solid schools in their own right in some sports, but football is obviously king, and it'll be a tough road for some schools like that. So there could still be other schools like that too, who could be finding
Willard baseball and Neosho wrestling would like a word, but
exactly. That's what I'm saying. You'll definitely carry your weight in some of those sports that they are notoriously good at. I mean, Scott McGee over at Willard with baseball, they've been
winning state champs. Is that right?
I think that's right. Yep. Really for about the past.
And Neosho, they've won state titles, and if they're not winning it, they're usually runner up and there.
Kidding,
so they're loaded. But
and you're talking about programs that have been successful for decades plus too at that time. But we'll shift gears here. We'll talk about a little bit of NFL. We did something fun last week. We had Taylor Frederick on, and we gave our way too early Super Bowl prediction. Okay. So I'll share ours after we hear from you. But we kind of talked about the differences in the AFC, the NFC going into this year.
Yeah, I just until someone proves that they can beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, you got to go with the Chiefs, represented by the AFC. NFC, I think, is more wide open in terms of possibilities. San Francisco should be good again. You think Philadelphia is going to be good, but then they folded at the end of last year. You got Detroit is coming on, and maybe that's it. Maybe it's Detroit and Kansas City. That's what I'm going to go with.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Kansas City beating Detroit.
I had
first three-peat. I'm calling it right now.
I went with the extremely safe pick and went with Kansas City and the 49ers.
Yeah. So it'd be like the third year or 3 out of the last 4 that they've played in the Super Bowl?
It seems like it's pretty consistent. I don't know what the number is exactly, but I can't remember what Taylor said. We'd have to run it back to last week. He definitely had the Chiefs, and I want to say he might have gone with either Philly or Detroit.
Yeah, I really don't know. Detroit, of course, was good last year, and I think they were in the NFC Championship, but I know that they were kind of they're on their way up. Philadelphia, they folded up in the last year.
I don't
know what they lost that. Was it 10-9 to Tampa Bay in the wild card or something? They should have.
Tampa Bay hosted it too. So, it was an interesting one. If I had to put, Detroit's not really a dark horse anymore in my book. No. If I had to take a dark horse out of that NFC, I think the Bucks, who play the Chiefs in November
Your boy
at
Baker,
Arrowhead.
is he still a quarterback?
He is. Well, he
Okay.
got that big contract in the offseason that, he'd been kind of floating around here for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that they have the skill guys. Some of them younger, now a little bit more seasoned. The defense is pretty solid. They might be able to be in that mix. But I would definitely agree with you 100%. The NFC is way more open.
If anybody, I mean, obviously we all picked the Chiefs. If anybody's going to unseat the Kansas City, who is it?
Well, Joe Burrow is back.
I think Buffalo, I mean, they used to be, but it's kind of like, have they peaked? Have they peaked? I don't know.
The thing with Buffalo is you don't really see when it comes down to those semis and the conference championship games, they seem to find ways to lose.
Well, they had I think, was it last year that they hosted Kansas City in Buffalo in the playoffs and lost? I think it was last year.
Yes, that's correct.
So, I mean, I just don't see it happening. I think Josh Allen is always going to be I hate to say this, the Peyton Manning to the Mahomes, Tom Brady. I mean, it's kind of in the playoffs anyway.
Yeah. I mentioned the Bengals. I think the thing with Cincinnati is it's like, can they outscore you? They don't really have a terrible defense, but certainly not elite. Baltimore's probably.
Yeah. With him, and they usually have a pretty salty defense.
But that's another one that lost to the Chiefs at home in the playoffs this past season.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the whole storyline was can Patty actually went
on the road and he went back to back on the road and won a negative 78 game to start it. So, I mean, it was until somebody beats them. I don't know how anybody can go against them. So.
Yeah. If I had to land on one team, I would probably go Baltimore. But again, it just comes down to, hey, you can put 12, 14 wins up in the regular season all you want. You have to win come December, January, when it really matters.
I don't see, I mean, the Texans are on their way up with Stroud, but I don't see them beating the Chiefs. Jacksonville's not beating the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Colts are on their way up. They're not beating the Chiefs. Tennessee, I don't know. I just don't see
Miami. You got to mention
nobody
Miami.
In the division. The Raiders, Broncos, Chargers. I mean, what happened to who's their quarterback? Chargers.
The Chargers is Herbert.
Yeah. What happened to him? I thought he was supposed to be the next guy, but
you just got to have the pieces around you. You got a brand new head coach. That's a lot of turnover for them.
Miami, no, I just don't see anybody doing anything.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. And who knows, I think it was Miami was the team last year that kind of shocked everybody with their offensive output. You'll probably have somebody like that this year, whether it's a Cincy or somebody like that. So
I think they were a game away from hosting Kansas City in that game instead of going to Arrowhead.
That's correct.
If I'm not mistaken. So,
yeah, that's correct. Because the Chiefs kind of squeaked in.
And I mean, I think Miami would rather have played in, that 80-degree January weather on South Beach than what they faced in Kansas City.
That was the cracked helmet game and all that. And definitely a grinded out kind of win for Kansas City, which is, it'll be interesting to see. We had a discussion about that last week. The AFC West is definitely not what it was here just even 5 or 6 years ago. No. But Bo Nix just announced as the starting quarterback for Denver, which I didn't realize they had him and Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham, 2 former starting quarterbacks in the league, but kind of those middle of the pack.
And Russell Wilson's in Pittsburgh.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is he starting there or is
yet to be announced? It has not been. I don't think it's been finalized yet. I think he does get the nod over Justin Fields, but I think if
that's right, that's Fields and Wilson.
Yeah,
in Pittsburgh.
I think if you have
what happened to kid from not kid anymore, but played at Oklahoma State. He was their starter last
Mason
year.
Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. Wasn't he their starter last year?
I don't. Yeah.
Is he still playing?
I don't know where he's at.
Where's Drew Lock at?
Drew Lock.
He's not at Seattle anymore.
Not Seattle.
Is he?
I don't think it's Seattle. Let me look real quick. Yeah. There's the.
I'm just throwing out random names.
The QB carousel is crazy anymore.
Drew Lock.
Looks like he is on the Giants roster right now.
Okay. Well,
if I'm correct, Drew Lock, New York Giants quarterback, so he's going to be backing up
Andrew Steven Locke backing up DJ.
Another team that could be all right, my team, Cleveland Browns, they could be in there just because they have an elite level. They have an elite level defense. Deshaun definitely
has always been your team.
No,
or just because Baker was there?
no. That's the fiance thing. That's the fiance kind of compromise. I got to root for the Sooners. I got to root for my Sooners in college. So I gave up the Chiefs. If she came on board and was an Oklahoma fan at the college level, I would root for the Browns at the pro level.
Look at you, the perfect little husband to be.
I try. I mean, I don't know if that's what.
So she's all Boomer Sooner, and you're just dirty Browns.
It's a work in progress. Okay. It's definitely not polished yet by any means.
The Brown, that's kind of a cool story. Like everybody has a reason. Like I have this eclectic favorite teams. Everybody knows I like Florida State. I like Kentucky.
Yeah.
I have reasons for liking every single team that I like. I'm not a bandwagon. And I vividly remember being about 6 years old and watching a Monday night football game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. It was like 1978. And I turned around and looked at my dad. I said, whoever wins this game is going to be my favorite team. And thankfully, Pittsburgh won the game. And I was a Steelers fan. At the time, the Colts had not moved to Indianapolis. And so I was a Steelers fan in my formative years, which happened to be they won the Super Bowl later that year and then won it again the next year. So it was kind of like I could have been a Browns fan. So.
Yeah. I've always kind of enjoyed following NFL football, and obviously it's the highest level, of the game. But with the evolution of fantasy, I care more about my fantasy.
You're more
teams.
of a red zone guy than you are.
Yeah, than just rooting on for a single team. Obviously, watching what the Chiefs have been doing in recent history is really cool to see. Yeah. And I try to tell myself, like, you might as well enjoy this because it's going to be a while before you probably see another dynasty like that. And who knows how long lived it will be. But yeah, no. Have you had a fantasy football draft yet? Are you in any other leagues?
No, the only one I'm in is the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame.
I don't even know when that draft is, to be honest with you.
Got to do it next week for the season because the Chiefs kick off against
next week
Baltimore.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Baltimore and Arrowhead on Thursday night. Okay. So yeah, I had one. I actually had a draft during the Musial. Which I remembered having one the year prior to during the Musial. So I was kind of sitting there like trying to make sure I didn't miss my picks or anything. But I get so amped up, so riled up for the fantasy football, and it's all bragging rights and luck and everything. But it'll be fun once the NFL season kicks off and you've got games on Saturdays and Sundays and Monday nights. Love Monday. You watch Monday Night Football?
Ever or just
I just like turn on Monday Night Football.
It's hard when you become an old married man with kids and they've got events and they've got practices and they've got this and that. I mean, and then I'm just old. I'm an old guy that gets tired, but so no, I don't. I don't just turn it on like I used to just to watch. Now I did get interested in the Manning cast because I think that they're entertaining, if nothing else, and so. Sometimes I would turn it on just to see that, or I have been guilty of if I'm on, in bed on Twitter and just kind of scrolling through. And of course it's happening live and people are talking about this game or stuff. And maybe I'll turn it on and watch the end or something, but the days of me just turning on sports and watching endlessly are done.
Yeah. I got to think about that when it comes time for the family planning.
It changes.
When
things,
are you ready to? Have you watched McAfee's they're kind of doing that with McAfee now too, kind of like the Manning cast. He does kind of because he's on College Game Day, and so he does that. And then a lot of times, I think if it's like if they're at a game that's a noon kickoff at 11 o'clock Central here, he hops right over there after College Game Day gets over and then does the whatever they call it, the McAfee cast or whatever. I don't know, but it's interesting that we're now seeing different, ways that they're broadcasting games.
It's crazy. And I'll tell you what's crazy is like high school, kids coming up now that, McAfee probably have no idea that the guy was probably the best punter in the league when he retired. He just stepped out like best at the height of his career. Just stepped aside because he was a comedian for a while, did some stand up and then he did it his own way and now he's just blowing up.
He's probably not too upset with that decision.
He's doing okay.
He's had
financially.
Had a little decent route there. I think it was like a $10 million deal or something crazy like that he signed with ESPN because he's got the McAfee show on during the day and everything. He held out,
did it his way, but good for him. But that's entertaining.
You ever get around to watching baseball this time of year? It gets hard to watch baseball once the football starts.
And this has been this way for a while. I don't watch baseball. I follow. I can tell you kind of who's doing well and who isn't.
Yeah.
But I don't watch baseball at all until the playoffs. And if like the Cardinals or Angels aren't playing, I won't watch until the World Series, and even then, I may not watch at all.
Yeah. Well, the Kansas
Once
City
again, kids, time, everything else.
yeah,
So,
the Kansas City Royals might have
they're
a
on a
chance.
roll.
They might have a chance to do something pretty cool. I talked about them a lot back here in the spring when it looked like they were pretty promising, and they've kept stride. They
Yeah.
really have. It's going to be interesting to see.
Bobby Witt Jr. is a superstar in the making.
Oh my gosh, the numbers that he's putting up is absolutely insane. It's not statistically impossible, but they're likely not going to be able to come back in the division. The Guardians have that pretty shored up, but they pretty much are going to be in a wild card position, and that makes it tough because your season comes down to one game to get yourself into a couple of those playoff series. But I think they've got a chance. I think they've got a chance to possibly make a little run, make some waves. The thing is it's just there's a huge gap in baseball right now in terms of the upper echelon teams are significantly better than the rest of the.
One of the things I just don't like about baseball is it's the salary cap, lack of salary cap, I guess.
Yeah.
And do they have a salary cap and you can go over it? I don't know what it is. Regardless, I don't like watching, okay, well, this superstar's on the market. Well, the Dodgers just signed him. This superstar's on the market. Well, the Yankees just signed it. I mean, and they've got, it doesn't mean that they've bought championships, but who's the team to beat every year? It seems like it's the Dodgers, and it's the teams that are spending all the money. It's not 100% accurate. I get it, but I just don't watch baseball. I have friends who literally, if they're not watching the Cardinals play, they're listening to the Cardinals play on the radio 162 times a year.
Yeah.
And I cannot understand how anybody, but it is. I mean, I know that those that are involved with the teams and stuff, but
yeah,
just can't get into
one
it.
grievance that I have with MLB, and I know I've talked about it on here before, is just the accessibility of watching games.
Well,
It's really hard to watch games.
Blacked out. Like I hear all the stuff about Bally and different things, but if you want to get it fixed. I mean,
I think that's the best way they're going to be able to promote the game going forward. Now, I won't make you make a pick, but right now, if I had to go Dodgers, no, it's a safe pick. It's a safe pick. I really think Philadelphia probably has a pretty solid. They just got a good pitching rotation, a lot of offensive production.
My limited knowledge, if my Twitter following of baseball is correct, I'm pretty sure that Atlanta's out of it this year.
Injuries.
But Houston probably, are they in it? Because it seems like they're always there at the end.
Believe so.
So I guess I'll just say Houston just because it seems like they're in the World Series a lot.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I can't picture the standings of that division right now. That division's been kind of down this year because obviously you had the defending champs and the Rangers. Who
Cleveland was solid last year, weren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So the Guardians might be a pick.
But I think Houston has made the strides here late. They had a big slump there for a little bit where they kind of fell back, but I think they're back in it now. So they definitely have that core group that has been there before, has made that run.
And they got a month left, if that, a little over a month.
Oh, yeah,
toward the end of September.
Yeah, it's always crazy to me how long the regular season lasts for baseball.
I just don't. That's what I'm saying. I can't.
You could play all the way into November.
Yes,
which is like,
I can remember. I think it was Cleveland versus the Cubs World Series that it was snowing in Cleveland.
Really,
it was not like a blizzard or anything, but it was late enough in the year that it was actually snow flurries. So
yeah, well, still a lot that could change though, given the fact that they probably still have 20 or 30 games left. So it'll be interesting. But if you've made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you joining us. We're always here to break down the latest things in sports news, both in Missouri and beyond. We got new episodes every Wednesday, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. A lot of things going on with the Hall of Fame, an induction coming up here in September in Cape Girardeau, the southeast corridor of the state that we're excited for. But be sure to leave us a review, share it with your friends, and let us know how we're doing.
All right. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll see you next time on another episode of Where the Game Lives On.